What's up? How's it going? So, I'm going to start this video off with saying, please just hear me out through the whole thing. Don't crucify me just at the beginning. Just first start and let me finish. And I know that these are beloved games. I love these games. I grew up playing Call of Duty. I'm just trying to point out what I've seen happen and what I've been seeing over the past couple of years with these games. And I just wanted to let you guys know that as well. So before we get to where we're at now, we obviously have to go way back to the beginning, because we can't understand why they're dying if we don't understand when they started and where they were at the peak of their popularity, So obviously Call of Duty is made by Activision. They have 3 smaller branches that make these games, and they produce one every single year, and they kind of switch off on release. So one year, the first year gets it, then second, then third, switch back to the first, second, third. It's a loop. You probably know how it works, but for the first 3 Call of Duty games, those are Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, but we're going to skip those because they really don't hold that much significance, because they really weren't that popular, didn't sell that well. They were kind of the start of the franchise, What we are going to start, though, is Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, which was the first massive hit that Activision had with a Call of Duty game. And the reason for this was because the graphics at the time were super realistic, looked great. Obviously, if we're comparing those to nowadays, it's night and day. It looks a little bit like Doggy Duty, but back in the time, it looked really, really good. It felt really realistic to play, and all the guns just felt amazing. They had a fantastic campaign with really fast-paced combat and a great multiplayer that obviously, we all know the Call of Duty formula. Multiplayer, you can always come back and play it anytime. For the campaign, I can remember the first mission where, it's raining down and you have to, infiltrate the boat with Captain Price, and you're going through the thing, and it's you have to move through kind of stealthily, but at the very end, all shit breaks loose, and you kind of just, have to, get off the boat because the ship's fucking sinking, and you run and jump, and you know what I'm talking about. But that first mission was just so iconic, and I think it was a great first mission to the whole game itself. Obviously, being online, it is fast paced, it's exhilarating, and it's honestly just a lot like a fucking action movie, with bullets flying, bombs going off, and bodies dropping, which is horrifying in real life, but in the video game, on a screen, on the comfort of your couch, it's fucking awesome, and it's just like a Michael Bay movie. It offered so many different ways to play with so many different guns, ways to customize those guns to make them even more customizable. Obviously, you can add perks, add different equipment. There's just so much you could do to make it really your own character and feel like your own build. This was the start, though, and this game sold 17.28 million copies, which is just a tad bit of a big number, just a little bit. And it was also the best-selling game of 2007. It was just competing with small games like Halo 3, Half-Life 2, the first Assassin's Creed, and the so influential The Bee Movie game. Oh, it also brought us this fun little meme.
50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town.
So, after Modern Warfare, where do we go? Do we go forward in time, or do we go back in time? Of course, we go back in time to World War II with Call of Duty, World at War. Just another massive COD game that was just another leap into what they can do with these video games. This game, the way it feels, the way it plays, and the story is just very real and very brutal. It does I would say, fantastic job of describing what war is. I don't know what war is. I've never been to war, but from other aspects I've heard, it does a great job. We get to play during D-Day and the fall of Germany, and we get to see actual historical events take place during the game, which is really cool to see. It's always fun when stories tie stuff like that into it. A good movie comparison to compare to the story and the way this game feels is kind of like Saving Private Ryan. It just feels very very brutal. Doesn't really glorify anything, and it can honestly get pretty dark at times. This game also brings in some very influential characters like Viktor Reznov. The thing is though, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and this game have two completely different stories, so they do not link at all. The multiplayer was obviously really fun. They're obviously really great at making great multiplayer, and it really made you feel like you were fighting for your life in those trenches. God damn. But World at War brought in one massive change with it that really elevated this game for everyone, and I'm going to give you a multiple choice option to see if you know which one it is, if you already don't. So we're going to start off with either, A, competitive play, which competitive play in Call of Duty is, very popular. It's a big thing. It could offer B, zombies. Zombies is another massive thing. It's a very big thing. Or C, it introduced dog. Yeah, it introduced dog. I'm going to give you a second to think about it, though. Cool, you done? Alright, cool. Obviously the answer is zombies. This game brought in zombies, but it's just helped this game sell more. And I really am not going to dive too deep into zombies because, I already have made another separate video talking about zombies. So if you want to see that, it'll be here. They're one of the two corners. Go check it out. But back to the game now. With all those things though wrapped up here into one big package, we get a sale total of 15.2 million, which is not as big as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which I am kind of surprised by because I thought the zombies aspect would make it sell better, but whatever. It was the 5th best-selling game of 2008 though, but it was competing with massive fucking heavy hitters like Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Grand Theft Auto 4, and of course Mario Kart for the Wii. So 5 ain't bad, but this game will always hold a special place in my heart for how much I played it as a kid, for the multiplayer and the zombies aspect of it. Now, moving on to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which, God, Activision was just really having hit after hit after fucking hit with these games. It was like they couldn't miss. This game donned some Call of Duty players that we will get into here soon, but first, let's talk about the story. And this is the first real instance of a Call of Duty story that really is just kind of a jumbled mess and is not that good. But like all of Call of Duty games where the story is a dookie dumpster fire, the gameplay makes up for it and the levels that you fight in. And also we get some crazy missions, a certain mission that I will not mention, but if you know, because remember, no Russians. Seriously though, this mission is called No Russians. You've probably heard of it if you don't know what it is. It's kind of fucked up. You kind of just fire into a crowd of people and in an airport. I'm not going to show footage of it, but because you can easily find it if you want to, but just an interesting mission and an interesting choice that they made for this game. This Call of Duty had amazing maps that allowed for such versatility for the competitive side of it, but this game also brought in the trick shotters as well. Yes, the massive community that blew up during this game was the trick shotting community. So a quick description of a trick shot, if you don't know what it is, basically it's when you fucking just spin. You can swap between guns, you can do some really cool shit. Basically, you just spin and either fire, kill somebody, or you basically do something to kill somebody. Cool, we got the definition out of the way. Trick shotting was sorta around during old Call of Duty games, but it was really brought in with this because this Call of Duty also introduced the winning kill cam, which is where the final kill is shown to all the players. Since it was shown to all the players that were playing, people had to make their kills look cool and flashy for the final kills. But showing it to all the players in the lobby is not what blew up trick shotting. What blew it up is the YouTubers and the community around trick shotting. That's what really blew it up. On a side note, I actually used to upload trick shotting videos that are now privated, that are not going to be unprivated. Maybe in the future, but they are not coming to see light of day for a long time. Back on topic though, we had massive groups like FaZe and Obey that were really spearheading the movement of trick shotting. I swear to God, it felt like every other week we were getting a new trick shot, a new 720 insta swap, fucking ball lick, dick grab, up the ass, sniper shot. This was huge for Call of Duty though, because these videos just showed the game to a wider audience and more people, and more eyes on the game means more sales, which is a good thing. Like I said though, this game exploded the Call of Duty community in obviously several different ways: multiplayer, trick-shotting, competitive, just massive ways. And with all of that, this is by far the best-selling Call of Duty game to date, with a nice and crisp 25.2 million units. You want to hear some crazy shit? It's sold 4.7 million in the first 24 hours. I have heard about the lines that were stood outside GameStop and fucking Walmart and places like that to buy copies of this game. They were staked out waiting for this game to come out. Even with that impressive 25.2 million though, it is not the best-selling game of 2009. It actually got third, which is very surprising, I know. It got beaten out by Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resorts, which, fuck Nintendo, because really, guys, that's really unfair to release two massive games like that in the same year. Just delay them. Come on. Obviously though, after Modern Warfare 2, they had some massive shoes to fill because everyone was anticipating and waiting for their next release. And oh my god, did they exceed expectations. They released Call of Duty Black Ops. And this is honestly probably one of the best Call of Duties to ever be released ever. And a huge reason for that is it just really excels in everything that it is trying to do. Which, first, the campaign itself is, not surprisingly, one of, if not the best campaign they have ever made, with a really fucking fantastic story, super well written characters, and like Call of Duty World at War, the time period it is set in correlates with actual historical events, which, I don't know, makes me sort of care about history, so props to them, because not many things can. The places you fight in are obviously super fun, they're beautiful, and the game has a fucking crazy twist at the end that I'm not going to talk about, because if you haven't played it, go play it. I don't want to spoil it, so just go play it. I will say that it kind of does make you feel insane as you're going through the game though, so there is that. But all in all, amazing. Also, a very small thing that I really love as an Easter egg is when you're on the main menu screen, so you're stuck in a chair, right, and you're looking like a TV. Well, if you're playing on controllers, you can move the joystick back and forth, or if you're playing on a computer, press A and D back and forth, and you're will rock in the chair, and you fall and break out of the chair, and you can walk around in the little room you're in. And there's a little terminal and on the back of it, the back wall, that you can enter some codes into, and you can unlock some really cool stuff like the Dead Ops arcade, and unlocking all the intel for all the maps if you care about that. The multiplayer was dope. We had great guns that are iconic, like the M16 and the Glil. They were all balanced very well, and so it really didn't feel like anyone was at too massive of an advantage, if you had a specific gun. And of course, it introduced the Call of Duty map, which is Nuketown. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is the most popular fucking multiplayer map to date. So if it's not true, then whatever, but I'm gonna say it's true. And a quick touch, zombies was of course amazing in this game. In total though, this is Call of Duty's best-selling game for a very long time, and it sold a fucking massive 30.72 million units, which, we can all agree that's fucking insane, right? And of course, it's the best-selling game of the year. Actually, fun fact, it doubled the sales of the second best-selling game, which was Madden. Man, we are at the time where Call of Duty is just really on top of the world, and it feels like they just could not be stopped doing insane fucking numbers, and they were so popular, like they were just everywhere. So to follow up the massive commercial and critical success of Call of Duty Black Ops, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which this is just another massive release that was a fucking crazy success. And you might ask how? Well, don't worry, I got that for you. It sold another 30 million units. I swear to God, at this point, they're literally just taking a rake and just fucking bringing in all the money. On the campaign side of it, it was still super fucking confusing. Don't get me wrong. Crazy confusing. but it marked the end of the Modern Warfare like trilogy story. So this was the end of it, which was super cool and crazy, obviously. It was super fun to play, and it was set in the kind of distant future back then, but not too distant now, future of 2025, which now is 3 years, but back then it was 14 years, which, God, this game came out in 2011. Oh, Jesus. I kind of feel old now. Let's keep moving. The multiplayer was, like, obviously huge. They've been improving on it every game, but this was the first time we were introduced to the new game mode, which is kill confirmed. So let's fucking go, dude. That's the best game mode ever. We love that game mode, right? But during this time, the competitive people were thriving playing this game, but the trick shotters were still kind of living in fucking 2009 with Modern Warfare 2. They also tried something new with bringing in a survival mode where it was kind of like zombies, where you would like survive throughout waves, but instead of fighting brain eaters, you would fight brain dead AI. You're basically just, you know, playing multiplayer and fighting against AI, but when you kill them, you get money to, you know, improve weapons, improve armor, and survive longer. It was cool, it was aight, and it never came back, so I'm considering it didn't do that well. Like I said, though, this game did fucking insane numbers as well for the Call of Duty franchise. Now, we get to another massive fucking hit. I don't understand how they keep doing it, and that is Call of Duty Black Ops 2. This game was massive because, I mean, no matter what you came for in this game, you were eating fucking well. They delivered on everything perfectly. For the multiplayer, the game's combat was smooth, it was nice, crisp, and it had a wide variety of amazing fucking guns, which isn't uncommon. But then we had maps to go with it, like Standoff, Raid, Hijacked, and of course the return of Nuketown. And then both of the communities were eating well. Like trick shotters were eating massively, competitive play was eating massively. They were both eating this game up. The reason is trick shotting was brought back in this game, and they were just, you know, doing new shots, going crazy in this game. Then the story for this game is fucking great. It follows up the events of the first game, and part of it takes place a few years after the events of the first game, and the other part takes place in 2025. Obviously, what I mean by that is you're playing through two different time periods at the same time. So what you'll do is you'll play as Alex Mason with Woods in the 1980s. Then it jumps to the present time for the game, which is 2025, with David Mason, the son of Alex Mason. It's a great story, and it honestly just feels like all around like a huge fucking summer blockbuster. The main villain is great, the story is great, it has some heart-wrenching moments to it. It's just super fun, and it keeps you super engaged throughout the whole way, and wants you to keep coming and playing back. This is what a Call of Duty campaign should be, you know, just super dope. Then, of course, the zombies community was eating well, of course. With all the exposure, though, this game did incredibly well. Not as well as the past few games, but still extremely well. A solid 29 million copies, but in my personal opinion, that should be higher because this game is just perfection. Now, for the next Call of Duty game in line, which is Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm not sure why, but when this game first came out, I was obviously still kind of young when it first came out. I thought this game was a complete fucking flop. I don't know. It's probably because I was comparing the Extinction mode to zombies from Black Ops 2, and obviously Extinction does not hold a candle. The story for this game was actually very interesting. I didn't expect it to be this good, but basically it takes place in an alternate future where the Middle East is fucking destroyed by like fucking nuclear bombs, and basically chaos like ensues throughout the whole fucking world, and South America becomes a federation in response to this, and they became like a fucking massive superpower, and they kind of start attacking the United States, and basically you're like fighting back against them. And confusing, but I swear to God, it's pretty good in the story and the context of the game, and the one mission in space is super cool as well. But of course, blockbuster Michael Bay, I mean, you know. The multiplayer, though, seemed like it had mixed reviews from people because it was a lot slower than Black Ops 2. So some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. But, I mean, they did try some new things to their credit. They made some of the maps bigger than the recent Modern Warfare games and Black Ops games to kind of bring in more players. You can have more players in Team Deathmatch on these bigger maps. But what that would kind of mean is, since these games are kind of slower, you can go a little bit without seeing any enemies on these bigger maps, and it just kind of feels like you might be like wandering around for like a minute and like just looking, not finding anyone, which is so much fun, and everyone loves doing that. Also, something cool that this game had is the map areas can be destroyed, which dope, that's cool. And I can probably speak for everyone by saying that Extinction was universally hated. I had never met anyone that actually enjoyed playing this mode and wanted to come back to it. You basically fought aliens and completed missions while fighting them. It's just kind of like the first couple of Vanguard Zombies maps, which, if I'm comparing Vanguard Zombies to this, it's not good. Call of Duty Ghosts, though, sales-wise, was a massive fucking success. I mean, fucking massive success. Sold a shit ton of units. I mean, I thought this game bombed, like I said. It sold a number of 28.98 million units. And this is obviously one of the better selling COD games. It was also the second best selling game of 2013, only being beaten out by Grand Theft Auto 5, the fucking massive gaming giant zombie that won't die for some odd reason that's been alive since 2013. Just make a new one, guys. Time to kick it to the most hated portion of the Call of Duty series, which is the futuristic games. And to start it off, we have Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So for the first game, the futuristic fighting was, honestly, it was very new. So it was super cool to have the exosuits, be able to jump around. It was very engaging and just all around a fun time to play with them and be able to use all the abilities that you could use. But let's get to the actual story itself, though. The story was actually, this is another one of the better Call of Duty story games. If you want to play a game for the story aspect of it, this is a good one to pick. Obviously, we still get the action and Michael Bay. Those will always come with these games. But we do have some kind of crazy twists and a unexpected ending, which is very climactic. It also features Troy Baker as the main character, which he also voices Joel in my fucking favorite game, The Last of Us, and Kevin Spacey as the main antagonist, which is awkward. It's awkward. The multiplayer was awesome though, and a big reason for that is because they completely redid the map design to let you fully utilize the exosuits and just have a blast with them, honestly. They give you a bunch of different ways to customize it to make the game however you want to make it. Like, they give you 13 points to put attachments on your guns, perks, and score streaks, when normally they only gave you 10 in the past games, which is a lot, but they also add in a whole fucking wide variety of guns. So you have your main guns, and then you have your different variants of guns that you can get from loot boxes and shit. And in total, there are over 350 different weapons, that's a big number for just amounts of different guns. Loot boxes, though, not cool. Amount of different guns is cool. So, bad, good, evens out, is what it is. And then, Exo Zombies suck dick. That's all I have to say about that. Sales-wise, though, this game did not sell as well, but it was a critical success. The fucking reviewers loved it, and from what I can tell, fans loved it for the most part. But it sold about fucking 21.76 million, which is still honestly great for any other game company, but it's kind of low for what Call of Duty has been writing over these past couple years. Now on to Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which is kind of just like Advanced Warfare Part 2. The story itself is just, it's okay. Kind of like an average Call of Duty story. I didn't really like it too much. I mean, obviously we know what we're getting in with the fun aspect, the gun aspect, and how the game plays. We know we're getting into it that. But the actual story aspect of it was okay. The characters were alright. It can get a tad bit confusing with the going crazy aspect of it, and being infected with rogue intelligence. That was cool, but it just kind of got a little confusing. Just wasn't the biggest fan of it. But having your arms ripped off in the first 5 minutes, though, that was cool. That was cool. Then the multiplayer, like I said, is kind of just like Advanced Warfare Part 2, where they just add a few tweaks here and there. So, I mean, jetpacks are back, wall running's back, sliding's back, all that stuff is back. They do bring in specialists, though, which is new. Which means after a certain amount of kills, you can use a special ability like a weapon or something like that, which is a cool change and does honestly breathe a sense of fresh air into the game. Some of the maps are cool though, and Nuketown does make another return to this game. The maps are obviously based around using your jetpacks like Advanced Warfare, but one thing that is super cool and new is you're able to swim and fight under the water. Dope change, guys, dope change. Outside of that though, zombies was by far and away the best part of this game. The thing is though, by this point, people were pretty done with the futuristic aspect of it though, and kind of wanted to go back to Modern Warfare or like World at War, something that was not future fucking ristic. This game sold more than Advanced Warfare, but was less of a critical success. I am not sure how that works. It's interesting, but this game sold a solid 26.72 million units. Now onto the game that no one asked for, which was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Like I said, people were done with the future aspect of these games by Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and no one wanted this game. I mean, it got to the point where the trailer for this game fucking got dislike bombed, and this is now the second most disliked video on YouTube. So I think that says something about your game when that happens. Despite the hate though and everything, they tried to make some changes to the game while riding off the back of Black Ops 3 and their specialist by adding combat rigs, which they're kind of light classes, and it's for how you play. Like for example, a synaptic rig is for a more like run and gun like type playing style, more like the normal basic playing style. Or another example is the Phantom rig, which is for players who like to be like a little more like stealthy and like sneak around, you know. Then the campaign is the best part of this game. They said, fuck the community, we are going straight balls deep into the future. So what that means is we're up fighting in fucking space, and fucking spaceships, and fighting in zero gravity with like super futuristic weapons and grappling hooks, and they give you just crazy fucking villains that are just insane. And this is just a really fun time to turn your brain off and just have a great time. Then the zombies for this game. The first map was promising. After that though, it kind of took a downfall. Sales wise though, as I'm sure that you can already guess, this game did not do well, like at all. This is a massive hit for them. This game sold a fucking whopping 13.6 million units. This is the lowest selling game to release after Modern Warfare in 2007. I mean, this game was just for real Spitfire buns. They were fucking quick though to kick away the futuristic aspect and the jetpacks to go back to fucking normal fighting. And they really want us to forget about it and kind of move ahead with it, but the thing is, we really couldn't forget about it. And I really think those games did start the downfall of the Call of Duty games for everybody, because it did show that the massive Call of Duty giant does have cracks and can be hit. It shows that these games aren't perfect and they can't really afford to make mistakes like that again. But there were cracks in the foundations from this little 3-game stuff that was starting to form, and we'll see kind of moving forward. So they moved way back in the fucking opposite direction of far in the future to the past of World War II. This game did some things very well. Campaign-wise, first off, I think the campaign is probably one of the best campaigns we've seen from Call of Duty as well. This is the first time since Black Ops that they will really make you care about the characters in this game. Since this is set during World War II, they do have a lot of battles to pick and choose from. So they start you off with storming the beaches on D-Day, which is a fucking real bang of a start. And a big thing they changed is they took away the auto regen. So when you get damaged, obviously your health will just automatically regen, but that doesn't happen anymore. You have to use health packs to heal yourself. And in the story mode, you have like a squad with you, and they all have like different roles that you have to rely on. like the medic finds and brings you back health packs to heal yourself, obviously. And you really spend the game going around and getting to know them, and the game actually does give you downtime to really give you the time to get to know them and care for them and actually know what their motives are. And on top of that, compared with these fucking great characters with the massive battles from World War II, just makes for a great story. And in the multiplayer, they had what they call divisions to replace the create class system. And you can pick from between 1 of 8 divisions, and they all have different things, like having a submachine gun with a suppressor to be quiet and fast, or having a sniper class, shit like that. Obviously, the classes themselves have specific guns to them, and you can pick and choose what guns you want to use and the mods you want to put on them. So there still is a create class system to it, just not to the point where you can just create wild shit or anything like you want to do from the other games. They still do have a variety of guns in the division, so you can pick and choose the guns and add whatever customizations you want onto them. They just don't have it all like dropped on there like it was for the old games. They just keep it a little more organized for this one. The thing is, though, you kind of have to level up each of the divisions, and from what I remember, it wasn't too bad to level up, but I mean, you still did have to level up 8 divisions, when in the old games it was just kind of like leveling up your own character. So, kind of annoying, honestly. They also took away the final kill cam for, in turn, what is the person who they call the most impressive kills, which is really just getting the most amount of kills in a short period of time. But they did keep the final kill cam and search and destroy, so that's cool. And it's also cool because you were either placed on the Allied or Axis side of the war, so they did want to keep some like kind of story aspects and historical aspects in the multiplayer side of it as well. Also, you can have large scale battles where there's like objectives like D-Day. Fucking you're storming one side is storming the beaches, the other side is obviously trying to defend the beach, and they call it like a campaign multiplayer mode. It's kind of like a weird in between. It just didn't feel. It was fun, but it didn't feel great because it was like we already did this in the campaign. Is this really necessary? All around though, I'll say the multiplayer was pretty good, but zombies suck dick like most non-Treyarch games. This game did alright sales-wise. It did recover a little bit from Infinite Warfare, but we're not back to what we were at. We're just at 19.82 million, which is still big for any other game, but for a Call of Duty franchise, it's kind of low. And now we can move along to the next Call of Duty game, which is the worst Black Ops game, and that is the Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So they made the bold and bad choice of adding no campaign to this game. They said it was to focus on what matters for the game, which I'm not really sure if they did that. They just kind of said that. The multiplayer in this game really is not at its best and doesn't really hit. It's kind of lazy. There are shitty spawns, so you can get spawn camps, which we all love. Everyone's kind of getting tired of the normal 3 lanes that most Call of Duty maps have by now, and they try to make changes that they say will help teamwork and revolve more around teamwork, but I mean, really. They bring back the specialists, which is cool, and in a similar fashion to World War II, they ditched automatic healing in turn for healing yourself with syringes. I don't know, something about the multiplayer just didn't really feel right. It didn't feel just at its best. I know that this game was rushed, but still, it just didn't feel very fun in my personal opinion. I didn't really enjoy this game's multiplayer. They did introduce a new thing, which was very cool, which was Blackout. It was their first toe dip into the Battle Royale aspect of like these games. This though was very successful, and it had new areas. It brought in old areas from other maps, and even parts of old areas from zombie maps, which I really appreciate. It was very fun, honestly, when it first came out, and this is by far the best part of Black Ops 4. Now, sales wise, how did this game sell? It did not sell too well. We're going back to Infinite Warfare. This game sold 14.3 million, which still good for any other game, just, not for a Call of Duty game. I I don't know. It seems like these games are just taking hits at this point. It's just they're still trying to recover from Infinite Warfare, but they just haven't got back fully on track yet. They will in the next game. It's just there's a problem with the next game that I will bring up. So obviously last game was a miss, but this one is a bullseye, and that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And but before you get confused, I'm going to explain this to you. So this is not Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They're different. This is a reboot of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So two different games. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. No 4. See, this one has a 4. This one doesn't have a 4. See? Confusing? Yes, but we got to figure it out. The thing is, though, since it is a reboot, they did change the campaign around, and the campaign is still very good. I mean, comparing it to the original one, it holds up and stands really well, and we get all the characters as well, which is nice to see. The graphics for this game are fucking beautiful. I mean, they are like almost like photorealistic. They're just fantastic. Then the multiplayer is great. They redesigned the map, so we don't get the fucking three-way style that we have through most of the old maps. The guns feel all very nice and super realistic and just great to use all around. They always say that they make changes to make the game more tactical. I never see it. I don't know if that's because I'm just not a competitive player, but sure, we'll say they made it more tactical. Sure, we can breach doors. That's dope. That's cool. The thing is, though, the problem I had with this game was it felt like they didn't know what to do. So they were like, let's go back to our old games. That worked. So they just rebooted an old game. Sure, great, that's cool. I mean, the game sold well. The game sold really fucking well, actually. It sold a massive fucking 30 million copies. It was they said over 30 million copies. So this is like their biggest game they ever sold. But I mean, it's a reboot. So let's get a new Call of Duty game. But while this game was still while content was still coming out for this game, they released something called fucking Warzone. And this is basically just an updated Blackout. Or I might get some hate for this, COD Fortnite. I mean, we all know the setup. You drop in, survive, there's a big circle, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. People die until it's super small, and a winner is crowned. One major thing that's different is the gulag. So what that is when you die, you have a chance to come back, and two players will fight off against each other. And one player dies in the gulag and is dead, and then one player wins in the gulag and comes back to life. This is by far and away the biggest thing that Call of Duty has going for itself nowadays. Since this game is super fucking popular. The thing is, though, it's not a mainline Call of Duty game. So yes, it helps Call of Duty, but it doesn't help really any of the mainline games. So I'm not going to include this as a reason why the mainline Call of Duty games are still alive and thriving, since this kind of is its own thing and can be downloaded separately away from the mainline Call of Duty games. After the success of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, though, they released Call of Duty Cold War, which honestly, this is another game that's good in every aspect that it does. The campaign is good. It's kind of short, but the campaign is good, and it's nice seeing old characters come back in the game. Then the multiplayer itself is obviously fun and very solid, and I played this multiplayer a lot. I played this multiplayer probably the most since Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And the reason for that is the guns are really fun to use. The original maps are honestly really great, and they bring back a lot of old maps as well. So it's nice having a mix of playing new maps and all the old maps that I grew up playing. The only thing I will complain about is the movement itself kind of feels like a downgrade from Modern Warfare. I am not too sure why or what that is, or what's up with that. Zombies, though, zombies is zombies. It's a Treyarch game. They did decent with it. Activision did not release the sales for this game, though. I think they did say that this game sold 5.7 million units or something like that in the first month. But the sales for the whole year did not get released, and we do know that this game got beaten out by Elden Ring as the best-selling game of the year. Now, after all the games we've gone through which is about 18 Call of Duty games. So it's a lot. I've been talking for a lot. My throat's starting to hurt. We are at the most recent, which is Call of Duty Vanguard, which is like booty. It's like bad. It's just fucking dog shit. So we are coming back to World War II again. And this time it really just kind of falls on its face with this campaign being okay, but short and forgettable and all around mid. Next, the multiplayer is just, I mean, it's the normal bread and butter. We all know what it is by this point. The thing is, though, this game was released kind of unreleased. Cold War did the same thing, but I gave that game a pass since it came out when, you know, the virus that will not be named was still going on. But what's your excuse for this game? Because there are bugs that should have been fixed before the game's released. There are some graphical issues that should have been fixed, and the spawns are all fucked up. It's just very like, and the zombies on this game is fucking ass. Like, it is massive donkey fucking dick that is twerking his balls off ass. This game also had worse sales compared to Cold War. They didn't release the sales again, but compared to Cold War, it did not do nearly as well. And they're blaming that on the World War II setting this time, which I think they need to take some accountability for releasing an incomplete game, because that probably heavily contributed into the fucking sales of this game. And I do think that the setting did have a part in it, but what I've been thinking about is we're 19 games deep into Call of Duty, right? That's a lot of games. That's a lot of time periods we've gone through. So what happens when we get to a point in time in the near future or far future where they've already exhausted the futuristic aspect? We don't want that again. They just exhausted the old aspect of World War II and stuff like that, so we don't want that again. What are we going to pick from? Like early 2000s, fucking 2020s, 2010s. Like, they really don't have that wide of a fucking gap to pick from nowadays, since we're tired with the other two. And obviously, if they keep releasing games that are in that time period for a consistent amount of time, we'll probably get tired of that too, to the point where they really can't release any games in that time period without us being tired of it. And they've tried to make changes and innovations in the games, like obviously the exosuits when those first came out, and the futuristic aspects. Like, when that first came out, it was a good innovation, but it didn't do well near the end of it, obviously, and we all know that. I mean, we've already been seeing it, sales starting to dwindle year by year, and the only reason that fucking Modern Warfare was top of the charts was because it was a reboot of a fucking old game. That's the only reason why. And it's weird to look at, because at these games' peaks, it was on top of the world, just fucking raking in money, doing better than everything else. Now it's just a zombie of its old self. And I do think that Modern Warfare 2, the game to come out later this year, will be a massive success, just like Modern Warfare 1. But again, that is just another reboot of an old game. I'm curious to see what the sales will look like for a new game that is not a reboot, an original game, to see what that looks like. Because all of these games are just remakes, reboots, are running off the coattails of the old games that were in their heyday. I could be completely wrong about it, but I mean, like I said, if I had to guess, these games that are not reboots, remakes, or remasters will just be original games that are, the sales are just like declining on them. But I can't predict the future. I could be completely wrong. You could say this is a shot in the dark, because it definitely is. I'm very curious, though, to see what will happen. I mean, only time will tell. I can't wait for them to release a new original game and make an update to see how the game does. Because Cold War and Vanguard, Cold War did decent, Vanguard did not do well. So, I mean, we'll wait and see. Because there definitely might be a point where we're just tired of all generations of fucking combat, and that's the day Call of Duty dies. I think I proved my point, though, with, I mean, we can just look at the sales and see what it is, though. But I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please go down, leave a like. This took a long time to put together. I've been looking at this kind of fucking shit since June. It is September now, so this video is a little bit late. I've been promising this video since the From Software one, so it's been a minute, just a minute. I don't have a watch on, but it has been a solid fucking minute. Sorry about that. Background wise, I got some of my figures up that were next to me that you couldn't see off screen. Yeah. I have videos planned out for a little bit. I have a very fun coverage of a certain series for the Halloween time, which might or might not be Resident Evil. Just putting it out there. Might or might not be. Comment down below, though. What do you guys think about Call of Duty? Do you think it's dying? Do you think it's going to do just fine? Am I a dumbass? Am I wrong for thinking that these games are dying out? Let me know. Subscribe, because we do have great videos coming out. October will be a great month if you love Resident Evil. I will have probably 3 videos on the Resident Evil series covering it. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. I hope that you right there, yes, you have a fan-fucking-tastic day. And of course, guys, like always, deuces.